So welcome to our Food Freedom Fighter Spotlight. Really pumped to be talking to Jill today. She had a really incredible transformation through the Beating Binge Eating Blueprint program. And what I love about her story is, you know, the drastic difference from where she was, when she started to where she is now. And also another thing I really love is a lot of her breakthroughs spilled over into other areas of life. So peace with her family and showing up fully for her children and things like that. And that's the stuff that really lights me up, right, is when someone can, because they're free from the struggle, show up fully for themselves and also those they love, and in turn make an impact on the world. So, Jill, welcome. Thank you so much for chatting with us today.
Of course. Happy to be here.
Okay, cool. Good. So let's jump in. All right. So, yeah, I mean, based on, I just kind of talked about this a little bit in the introduction with you. I know that your story from like where you're at now to where you were is a drastic one. So would you mind kind of just painting a picture for us of what life and your relationship with your body and food looks like before you reached out for your strategy call or started the program?
Oh, wow. When I was searching the internet far and wide for anything and everything to fix me, and I looked at everything, I was desperate. I was crying all the time, multiple times a day because of my eating, of the binging, and I could not be there for my kids. I have 3 boys under 4, 7, and 9, and I could not be there for them emotionally. I couldn't be there for them physically to go out, play with them, be outside. I could not even help them with their schoolwork. Like, I was completely in despair. And I could not support my husband, he's self-employed. So I have the kids many hours a day, and supporting him in his business even. Like, I wasn't cooking anything of substance for anybody. Like I said, I was emotionally distraught. It was awful. It was completely awful. And when I did find your program online, and then when I did finally make the call to talk to Stella, and I couldn't not cry when talking to her. And I look back, and that call, I am so thankful, unbelievably thankful for that call, because it has changed my life. And I am not anywhere near where I used to be. And I'm so thankful for that, because I couldn't even function. I was not functioning. So it was a pretty awful, dark, desperate, depressed place with no light at the end of the tunnel. I thought that was going to be my life forever, and it's not.
Gotcha. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I know it's a pretty vulnerable question just to kick off with, right? Like going back to that time where it was just so tough and struggling. And for you, as far as like the body and food aspect of things, can you just elaborate a little bit on that part of things? Like, I know it impacted your life so greatly and just your relationship with yourself too, but like, what did the food look like? Like, what was going on there? Was it, like, what did that look like?
Well, you wake up every morning thinking you've got a plan for your food. You lay it out, and you're like, I'm going to do better this time. And you're waking up in the morning from a previous binge the night before, so you're already emotionally not even there. But you're going to go with your plan and everything. And breakfast will go okay, but once the afternoon hits, I was binging 2 to 3 times a day sometimes. I would eat, I don't know, probably 3,000 to 4,000 calories in a sitting within, it could be 5 to 10 minutes. I would eat so fast, and some of my binges were so bad I couldn't even remember. It was like a drunken state. I would sit back. Even a half an hour later, I'm like, what did I eat? And I could look through the garbage of, cereal boxes that I threw away or whatever. I'm like, I ate that? Really? Like, you don't recall that. And that's scary. It's scary. I'm crying right now because it's so real. And so it wasn't good. Of the chocolate, my husband would bring chocolate home, and I would tell him, I'd be like, you need to hide that. And he would hide it, but it didn't matter. I always found it. And the fights that we got into, because I would blame him for bringing the chocolate home, yet he would blame me for finding it and eating it, and that wasn't fun either. The fights that we had, just sitting there in the secret, eating the chocolate or whatever, the chips, whatever food it was at the time, in the bathroom, in the garage, in the closet. It wasn't a good place. And then, of course, when you get so hard on yourself emotionally that, okay, I'm going to do better and I'm going to restrict and I'm only going to eat this to make up for this, all these calories I just ate, and that never works. And it just spirals and goes into another binge. And it just goes deeper and darker into there, like any addiction. It doesn't get better with each binge or with each restriction. It just only got worse and got darker.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you so much for sharing that. I can relate on so many levels, and then there's parts that I just know so many people are going to be able to really identify with. And so thank you for sharing that so vulnerably. And what I'm really thrilled about is how you're not there anymore, and how you're on the other side of this. And yes, of course, there's still room to grow and things like that, right? But you're not in that dark, heavy place, and it's rippling out into all areas of your life. So let's talk about that a little bit. Like, what, how is your life different? Like, what's different now that you have found food freedom forever and you have really shifted from this dark, gripping place of the compulsion of binge eating?
Oh, man, it's there is no value on the freedom that I have. It's fabulous. It's beyond fabulous. I'm not binging, and
yay!
yeah, and it feels great. My pants fit better. I'm not restricting any food, so I can have any treats I want. I can have any chips I want, and some days are harder than others, but I'm not hard on myself because I know that I can have some, anytime I want, and it's okay, and I'm not gonna blow up from a handful of chips, kind of thing, because that's what I used to think, is that a few chips would make me gain a ton of weight. Then I would restrict and then binge, but and so that's fabulous. I can eat even meatballs. I would restrict meatballs, and I eat those now. And just all these different things that I used to restrict, I would not eat, and I do now. And it's so freeing, and it's nice because then I'm not binging because of it. And emotionally, that has gone so far. I'm not crying daily. I'm not even crying every other day. I can go a week without even crying sometimes. And
Yay!
and the reasons I cry now aren't food related. They're just because I'm stressed with my kids or other life things. But it's not even that necessarily. I'll even go longer than a week. Like, I'm just, versus before when I was crying multiple times a day. That is nice. I play with my kids now. We can play card games. I have energy to play card games with them and play Legos with them. We go outside and play baseball and jump on the trampoline. I never did that before because I didn't have the energy to, because either I was emotionally drained or I was drained from a binge, so you feel awful physically, and I don't now. And I can go running and feel good about that. And I enjoy my husband again. We don't fight. There's no food fights. He can have ice cream in the house. Sometimes I have it, sometimes I don't. I never thought that was possible. Because I always had to make him hide that stuff. And so it's beautiful. I'm in so much of a better place physically, emotionally, with myself, with food, with my kids, with my husband. And I want to, social settings, they don't scare me anymore. I go out and I have fun, and it is such a relaxing, enjoyable experience. I can enjoy the food, I can enjoy the people, and it's not a stress anymore. And that's it's. There's no price on it. There's no price on my life, getting my life back.
Wow. I have tears. That's just so incredible, Jill. Like, just thank you. Thank you for sharing so real. And I'm just so inspired by you because you did this in a very quick span of time, too. I know we talked a little bit before the call, and there's still, of course, layers of it that you're exploring and, the ongoing process of learning to listen to and trust your body and things like that. But in such a quick period of time, you went from like full disordered eating, right? And I hate putting labels on things, but we can call it that because it was in that department. And then, now you're in this place of ease and freedom, and then, showing up fully for yourself and feeling yourself, and then being able to live out your purpose and passion, which is being there with your family and things like that. So have they noticed? Kids, I know they didn't know that you went through the transformation, but have they said anything? I'm sure husbands noticed. So have they said anything to you? I'm just curious.
Yeah, my husband, of course, definitely notices that, that we're fighting less and that he can have that kind of stuff in the house and it's not a stress for me and those kind of things. No, my kids haven't noticed anything. They have noticed that I am crying less and that I have more energy for them. So they have said, "Oh, yay, thanks, Mom, for playing with me," or those kind of things. They don't know how to verbalize of, "Mommy, you're crying less," or something like that. But they express it in other ways of just yeah, thanks, Mom, for playing with us. I really appreciate that. Or, I love you so much, Mom, versus it just, I wasn't getting that affirmation from them before. And so it's different now in that way. So it's not the same kind of expression as an adult can give of the more verbal blunt of, I noticed this, but I see it in other ways from them. And it warms my heart and makes it smile. So
yeah, that's so great. I wouldn't expect them to be like, "Hey, Mom, you did a lot of personal development work," and
right.
That'd be nice, but yeah, it's I think we just don't realize how they're little sponges and they're growing and their beliefs about life are forming at young ages. All of our beliefs about our lives did, and you just being in your power and being the shining example of health and happiness and ease in this area, even if they don't acknowledge it, it's going to change the trajectory of the rest of their lives. And if you feel self-worth and can instill that on your children, they're going to feel it too. And, it's so powerful. It's one of my big passions is the generational impact of breaking free in this area. And it's not, even if you're not directly teaching them the program, right? But that's just you being an example and being able to help them affirm their worth and their, and their capability to do anything they want, and they're working through their fears. Is just, it's not something you could do if you weren't doing the process on your own. You could tell them how, but you wouldn't be embodying it. And I think it's just really incredible that you're on this path and embodying it. So that's so awesome.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome. So you had these massive shifts, right? What was your big aha moment? Like, and you can have a few, but what was something that really stuck with you that you feel like is kind of at the foundation of your transformation?
Yeah, there definitely wasn't just one, but
yeah.
there never is. But I do know the first one that made me realize that this was a bigger. I always knew the problem was more emotional. I knew, I did restrict food, but I knew I restricted myself emotionally. I'd beat myself up so much, and I never knew how bad it was until there was the exercise where we were to look into our eyes in front of the mirror, and go through that meditation and go through that exercise, and I couldn't. I could not look at myself in the mirror. I could not look into my eyes. I sat close in front of the mirror so I could see deep into my eyes, and I couldn't. I looked down and I just cried. And it was then that I knew, like, wow, how I knew I was broken and I knew I was hurting, but it was bigger than I ever thought possible. It was deeper than I ever knew. And it was also then that I knew that this was going to fix me. Not fix me, but this was going to take me farther than I ever thought I could too, as well. It wasn't just going to help me with the food, but it was also going to help me with my body image, with my body confidence, my self-esteem, and so it was a big moment, and I will never forget that moment. It was like it was yesterday.
Wow.
And it was beautiful at the same time. At the time, I didn't think that, but I'm looking back now, I could say like how beautiful that moment was, because that's when I think when my heart opened also to hearing more about what this program was truly trying to teach me. Again, not just about the food, but that it went deeper into your heart. And from there on out, yeah, I struggled, but I just kept growing as well. And so that was the kind of the takeoff. I don't remember what week that was, maybe 4? I can't remember. 3, yeah.
3, yeah.
So, yeah.
That's so great. And I want to ask you just something else about this, because it's actually there's 2 things people resist. Well, there's a few things people resist the most in the program, but I think that's probably the biggest one. The one that people skip over because they think it's insignificant. Really subconsciously, we're terrified, right?
Right.
Or the one that just seems the most like, ew, daunting, not real. Like, oh, I'm forcing myself to do something that doesn't resonate. And then, but we don't realize the impact of that actually connecting. And the point of the exercise is to connect with yourself deeper than your physical, which is how, if we come from diet background, any disordered eating background, any trying to control our food in our body background, we don't look in the mirror and see us. We look in the mirror and see this lovely little piece of flesh we get to walk around in, right? And
right.
That exercise is designed to help you see deeper into yourself. And so was that what it was? Is it that connecting with something deeper? Like, what do you think? And if you don't have an answer, I know it's totally putting you on the spot, but what do you think it was? Anyone in the program, if they're resisting this, I want to encourage them to do it, because I think it can be that pivotal moment that allows you to open up to the rest of the process. So what do you think it was for you that really resonated so deeply about that one exercise?
It's totally true. You look in the mirror at your body and you are a piece of flesh, and all you see is kind of your makeup of food, because you're like, well, if I ate cleaner, I would have a flatter stomach and I wouldn't have so much, meat on my thighs, those kind of things. So that's all you see. But when you sit close or stand close to that mirror and you look in your eyes, you see your person, you see your heart. you're more than just food. You're more than just your skeleton and your body. Your eyes are there, and you can't deny your eyes, and your eyes connect to your heart emotionally, and so it is. You see that person, and you're like, there's my soul, there's my heart, and yeah, I looked down, and I couldn't do it at first, and I kept looking back up and trying, and it took me a time, and I actually did it probably three or four times to keep doing that exercise, and each time I got stronger. Each time I could look in the mirror closer for a longer period of time, and I think by the third time I wasn't crying, and just different things like that. But yeah, you just connect, and you see I am a person, and there's a glimpse of, okay, if I am a person, there's got to be something to me, and there's got to be some kind of value. Like, I don't know what that looks like, because you're in such a dark place, but that goes through your head, or at least that went through my head. Is that I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm here, and I'm a person, and I am a woman, and I am a mom, and I'm a wife. Like, you just connect to all these personal things about yourself, and you do search for that value, and so it is a deeper experience, and maybe it wouldn't be so profound for other people, I don't know, but for me it was a very profound experience, and I would encourage everybody to do it, because it like I said, it was I won't forget it, because it was the foundation to my growth, I believe, from there on out.
That's so powerful. We just talked about on our Tuesday night call last night with the group, we were really diving into body acceptance on the calls. There's the program, of course, but then the calls is where we adapt everything to the individual, and I've noticed a lot of friction come up around fear of weight gain, fear of not losing weight. How do I accept and love my body as it is, but still not like throw in the towel, right, on my body changing and things like that. And so we've been diving deep into that, and I think that this excerpt of the whole call will greatly help everyone. But I'm excited for the girls in the program to get to hear that part, because I just think it's so powerful, so powerful. So awesome. Thank you. I'm curious, because I know you have, tried different diets, tried different programs, had little glimpses of freedom, or what we might think was freedom before, right? But I'm wondering what made this program different than the methods you've tried, and also what allowed you, and you can answer these in two different ways, but what allowed you to go all in and to just trust? Like, it takes a lot to, come across something, and, we do everything we can to connect, but to trust someone you're working with and to trust yourself to really jump into the process. So what made the program different that allowed you to fully jump in and really just trust the process and learn to trust yourself and so forth?
I think because I had read books like on mindful eating. So that mindful eating, well, I mean, there's a lot of different perspectives, but the one I read was not restricting anything, allowing everything in moderation, and just listen to your body. It was the premise. And it also talks about not emotionally beating yourself up as well. But so that was good, and that has helped me in the past, yet I still, while I could do some food in moderation and those kind of things, my body image was still awful. And I was, I'd gained weight from the binging, but I was at a smaller weight when I was mindful eating, but my body image, my emotions, like I still thought I was overweight at a smaller size. And my husband would tell me over and over, "You are not." And I'd be like, "Yeah, I am. I need to lose weight because I am not this or that or whatever." And so this program it does all that, but it's so much more. And it's that personal that I just explained with that experience. Like, it's connecting you to who you are, to your soul, to your heart, to your spirit. And I didn't get that before, and I have some of that now, and I am excited for my future because I'm only going to be able to connect more to who I am. I'm still figuring some of that out, and I'm excited to know more of that because that you can find freedom in food, but if you don't have that connection with who you are and with your heart and soul and mind, then you've only got part of the picture, which is what I had before. I think I only had part of the picture before, and now I have a glimpse of all of the picture. I have food freedom, some physical freedom, but I also have emotional freedom that I didn't have before with my body, and I know I'm beautiful inside and out now. Like, I wear clothes that I want to wear and that make me feel good, and I didn't do that before. And so I have confidence, in my smile now and in my eyes. I can look at people. I can look at myself now, and I couldn't before. And all these different things that I hated about myself before, whether that was my hair or my eyes and my arms and my legs. And now I'm just like, hey, no, I've got some strong legs and I've got strong arms. I can move a dresser across the room, like, all these things that my husband prided me before on, but I was like, oh, I hate my strong arms, because strong arms for me did not mean skinny arms, because they're big muscles kind of thing. And so I hated it before, even though I could eat in moderation and stuff. But now I have both of it. I can eat in moderation and listen to my body. Yeah, I'm still growing in those areas, but I've got the emotional, the connection to myself, and that's what this program really did for me and will do for others as well, and that's what makes it different.
So powerful. And I just love your take on everything, because everyone has a different thing that stands out to them about the program. A lot of times it's the brain science aspect, like having that tangible, objective piece of information on the front end, at least, that allows them to kind of trust enough to go all in. And, and so we'll hear that a lot, which is powerful, right? But what I really love about what you're saying is, in fact, my true overall intention for the program. And we say it time and time again, like, you're not broken. You don't need to be fixed. There's just things standing in between you and your power in this area, and you and your power in all of life. And, from designing the program, from obviously all my studies and my experience and all these things, but truly from my heart, that's the main, for me, that's it. Like, that's the big objective for me, is reconnecting you back to you, because you know how to eat and how to nourish yourself and how to be an amazing mother and amazing to yourself. Like, you have this answer inside of you, and it's, yes, do we give you the tools and the tips and all these things in a systematic way to connect to that and to break free and to have the food freedom and all of that. Yes. And then there's the big aspect of connecting you back to you and kind of undoing all those limiting beliefs and societal conditioning and programming that stands between you and this power that you're experiencing. So I think that's beautiful. Really, really beautiful. And I love that that's what really resonated to you. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
That whole, you and your power thing, it never did make sense before. But now it does. It totally does. And it's funny, when you first start the program, you think there's a script and of, questions of how much should I be eating, when do I eat, what do I eat, and all these. I just wanted the script of food, but that's what I was doing before, and that wasn't working. That's not what this is. And so as I remember, as the program came on, I was like, oh, I do get that of getting you back into your power. And yeah, you know who you are, or I mean, you know how to eat. It's just things are standing in the way. And as a new person, you just don't understand that. I didn't understand that, but now I do, and it's fantastic to be in that place and to be able to go through life and be in my own power. And I don't have to think about what I just ate, and I don't have to think about lunch. Like when lunch comes, I'll eat what I want, kind of thing, and what my body needs and what I want, and all these different things. And it's a powerful statement that takes a while to understand, but when you do, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. So awesome. Thanks, Jill, for just sharing your insight. And I can tell it's just coming straight from your heart, which is just so wonderful. I'm super appreciative. So okay. So I'm going to change gears just a little bit. For anyone that's in the program or just anyone that's struggling in general, right, there are struggles. So no matter how beautiful the process is and how incredible it is, there are things that come up that are challenging. What was your biggest struggle, biggest roadblock that you felt like you had to overcome, and what allowed you to work around that?
Let's see. The first week, when you release restriction, I did go all out, and I didn't do it slowly. I just pushed on through, and that was good. But that was also hard because in that, when you unrelease that restriction, you either make or you go out and buy all those things that you haven't eaten in forever, or you've binged on, but then you emotionally judged yourself and beat yourself up over. So anyway, when I did that, not only have you gained weight from your binging disordered eating already, but then when you unrelease restriction, you get all this bloat and all this stuff, and you feel awful, but yet at the same time, there's a lot of freedom in that if you are not emotionally beating yourself up, which of course you're working on doing. And so then comes the weight of, oh my gosh, what did I just do? And you kind of get terrified, and you're like, okay, my goal is weight loss. And that's been my goal this whole time, and now I'm unreleasing restriction, and I'm feeling even worse, and now I'm definitely not going to lose weight. And so that's what happened to me, and you get so stressed, and you get so freaked out because that's all you ever want is to lose weight and get back to a place where you were before maybe or whatnot. And so it was week 3, I believe, and we took family pictures, and I looked at myself, and I just cried. Like, it was just, I did not like my pictures at all, and what I did show pictures, it was pictures when kids were, like, hiding in front of me, so they could only see my face, They couldn't see the rest of my body, and one of my friends was like, oh, that's such a good picture, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I look pregnant, and all these different things. And that was the hardest thing, is that I just, you so desperately want to lose weight. And I had, the days were dark. I cried and cried and cried. And I remember I got an extra call from Stella, and we talked, and that was an amazing phone call. In the short amount of time that I talked to her, maybe 20, 30 minutes or whatever, she was able to uncover some things that I really needed to work on, and that really helped. And but I still was hanging on. It took me a few weeks still to just let go of that. And I think even you and I talked about on a support call too, of like of just accepting my body where I am at right now. I don't have to love my body. I don't even have to like my body necessarily, but I need to accept where I am at. And that was interesting for me because I always thought from the beginning, like, I had to like my body, if not love it. And I couldn't. And I think most people can't because we've gained weight or whatnot, or we're just not happy with where we're at, and we want to lose weight so badly. So we don't like it. We don't love our body, and that was so hard to let go of. And but somewhere it clicked. Just as the week, starting with week 3, and as things went on, it finally around I think week 5 clicked. Of, oh yeah. Accepting it does not mean love. Like, you kind of have this in your head, acceptance equals love. No, it doesn't. And I don't know what analogy I used to make that click. I'm sure I had some analogy somewhere of, but I can't remember what it was. But somewhere it just did. And it's kind of, I'm sure other people might say that, where sometimes it just clicks and things turn around from there. And so for new people in this, I know how hard it is to let go of the weight loss. It's just this heavy black weight on you that you can't drop, you can't let go. And that is my advice, is to let that go, because for me, and probably for others too, that's what brings you down the most, is you want this so badly, and you want it right now. You don't want it to wait. You don't want to wait for weight loss, right? And you've got to have it instantly, because if you don't have it instantly, then you're not acceptable. You're not lovable. You're not all these things that you put on yourself, which are not true, but that's what you emotionally do to yourself. And sorry, excuse me. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, my kids.
No worries.
So that was my biggest struggle, is letting go of that weight loss. And you hear people say, it'll come once you stop binging, once you finally learn to listen to your body a little bit, and those kind of things. The bloat does come off, and the extra weight starts coming off when you get to more normal eating, and I'm starting to see that now. And so it does come. It takes a while. But when you can emotionally let go of that, which is a work in progress, it's hard every single day. But when you can let go of that and not beat yourself up, it will come off, but also the emotional of just accepting yourself eventually turns into liking yourself, which eventually will turn into loving yourself. And that's better than any weight loss can ever be, because then you accept your body at no matter what age, what weight you are at, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So awesome. And so, I wish if you could have heard our group call last night, I cannot wait to share this with the people in the program, because this is exactly what so many people bump into. And, it's the focus on the weight loss and not releasing that is the biggest thing that stands in between people finding true freedom from this. And, by no means do we mean that you need to eat anything and everything and gain weight and forget about your health or anything like that. Just the point is to break you out of the cycle of binge and emotional eating, normalize your relationship with yourself, your body, and food, and then you do get to that place where you are eating in ways that really nourish you. So, on that, did you find that once you went all in, releasing restriction physically, right? And then the biggest hurdle is releasing it mentally and emotionally, not being hard on yourself for doing these things when this want for weight loss is so high. So you're getting to the point of the emotional, the mental releasing of everything. Did you find that the food itself started to shift, that need to go out and buy everything and eat foods that you weren't allowed for so long? Did that kind of go away and get to a place where it was a little more balanced and normal?
It definitely did. Yeah. when you first unleash physical restriction, that helped a little bit, not a ton, but yeah, when you start being kind to yourself and not judging yourself but loving yourself, you do start to turn up the cinnamon roll that's at the bakery, or you don't have to have the whole bag of chips, and that is when I started allowing or not making my husband hide food anymore. And not that I was perfect. I still struggled. So I don't want people to think that I didn't. And that somewhere it clicks and you're perfect from there on out, because it's not. It's not a perfect picture in any way, shape, or form. But it's amazing. I can have chocolate chips in the house starting around week 5, when I finally, I think, got through the emotional of not beating myself up. I could have chocolate chips in the house, and I didn't gorge on them, and all these different things. And so, it still took a while weight just comes off slowly. So, it still took a long time. I'm not saying that, and I'm not, it's not an instant thing, but you definitely can, the power that food has over you lessens. And that's fantastic, because it doesn't control you anymore. And you can go to parties and not be stressed about it, and you can go out to dinner with a significant other or friends or whatever, and not stress about what you're going to eat, or stress if you want that cocktail or not, because it has no power over you. And it's great.
That's so great. And, and for people, because there are people that do, most everyone in the program wants to lose weight. And, that's one thing that we do really emphasize is there's nothing wrong with wanting your body to release weight, especially if it's weight that's been put on from binging and things. Like, our bodies don't want to hold on to that weight that's there, and either do we. And I get that, and it's just like, but what people really have to understand is by focusing on weight loss, that's what's gotten us here in the first place. So if you can, just shelf it enough to really dive into the program fully, that is going to happen. It might happen slowly for some. It might happen quicker for others. It might take a few months for some. It might take a few weeks for some. It's so different, right? Our bodies and our metabolisms and things like that. But as we decrease the stress response in the body and really start, the food lessens the control over you, which I really like what you said. You get to go to a party and pick what you want instead of pick what your body's yelling at you to have, all the appetizers, and go back in and sneak desserts when no one's there, or whatever that might be. That was like a go-to move of mine for quite some time. And then once you're out of the cycle, it gets so much easier to focus on, hey, I do want to add some healthy, health-giving foods in, and I do want to nourish my body. And by doing so, I'm not going to trigger the binging anymore. And in those places, when you start transitioning over to that, right, you're out of the cycle and you're transitioning, the weight does release. And it releases differently for everyone, right? But I think it's important. I know weight loss is not our focus by any means, but I love that you're an example of weight loss isn't your focus, and you're starting to feel a little bit like your pants are fitting better and things like that now that you're really out of that cycle and the food has lessened its control over you. So I just think that's really, really great, because it is a fear that comes up for a lot of women, especially in the beginning.
Yeah, it is a huge fear. I remember that.
Yeah, and I think, too, it's important to remember, diets up until these points were always really short-term fixes. And it was, it's easy to get almost like addicted to that, like, oh, I can diet for the day and the scale will drop 2 pounds tomorrow or whatever. You get addicted, or you get used to being able to manipulate your body fast if you can stick to something, so to speak. And, this is completely different. We're not just trying to stick to something for one day. We're altering our way of being with food and body for the rest of our lives so we can have freedom, learn to love our bodies and all these wonderful things. So I think what you're sharing is so important, because it's just a reminder to stay the course. Like, it happens. And, hey, if it takes a little bit longer, that's fine. What's the other option? trying to control everything, and then 6 months go by and we're still binging. So it's like, why not take, why not have 6 months go by where we're radically improving our relationship with our body and food for the rest of our lives, if the other way just kind of left us in binge territory 6 months later. So yeah, I really, really love what you said, and I think everyone in and out of the program hearing this piece is just going to be so powerful. So thank you, Jill. One last thing before we go. You've already shared so much wisdom, and I know you kind of shared with everyone just a piece about restriction, but is there anything else that you'd want to say to someone in the program, say to someone entering the program, just anything, that you feel like would help them, that you wish someone grabbed your hand and said at week 1, like, hey, Jill, do this, anything like that?
Oh, man. I think first for those that are contemplating, like, should I do this? Should I not do this? It's a lot of money. I don't know if I can afford this right now. And that went through my head too, of course. And I remember talking to my husband about it, and I was like, I don't know. This is a lot of money right now. Of course, things are tight, et cetera, et cetera. He had just gotten a car accident. His car was totaled. All these different things. There's always excuses, no matter where you are in life. And he turned to me and he said, I don't care. Let's do it because I want my wife back. And I cried. And going through it, just do it. There is no price on loving yourself again. There's no price on the food freedom. There's no price on of being alive again. I mean, that's where I am. Like I was in such a dark place. I was on, depression medicine and, like I said, crying all the time, and I couldn't be there for my family, let alone any of my friends, and let alone my family, like my parents and stuff who are aging and struggling and need my help. Like I could not do any of these things, and if I would still be in that place today, if not worse. And I would pay it over again to do if I needed, it's just, if anybody's contemplating, I would just say, just do it. Just put it on that credit card or, whatever it may be, because I like I said, I think you can tell I can't express enough of how much it is so worth it. And for that person who's in that first week or second week, people constantly say this, and I remember they saying it to you, just trust the process. Like, just trust what Brittany is saying to you and all these different things. And that is so hard because you are so scared. And I would reaffirm what they are saying because it will work and it will click for you, and just keep going. Do the meditations, do the exercises. Those all help. If you just go through a module and don't do the exercises and don't read the questions and answer them, it won't have the same effect. You've got to do the work. And so I know that sounds foreign to probably new people, but because I know it did to me. I was like, trust the process. Yeah, okay, I am. And I remember even asking Stella, like, okay, this isn't a diet, right, Stella? And she's like, no, this isn't another diet. And it's not. And and it's fantastic. And when you I would tell a new person too, when you release that physical restriction, like, and you may feel bloated, and whatnot, but try to let go of that because it will get better. And try to let go of that idea of I have to lose weight. Like, you will eventually. You will get there. Just give it time, release that stress, and just focus on going through the program and working on you. And I remember, I don't know what point I was at. It was pretty early on. And I remember contemplating, like, okay, I can trust Brittany, trust the program, or I go back to where I was. And that's restricting my food to try to lose weight, but then I binge. So I'm not losing weight. I gained weight through this process, through this binging, restricting process. So those are my two options here. Which one would I rather do? And I'm like, well, obviously the restricting, binging didn't get me anywhere, and it backfired on me because I gained weight. So the only other option is to go through this program, to trust you and trust others as well, because that's what they're saying. So I'm like, okay, I'll go with that. And it's kind of the lesser of two evils at the beginning. I don't mean to be hard on you or to make it sound bad, but that's kind of what it is. Like, and if you pick the path of least resistance, which is your program, it's amazing. And at week 8, you will be proud of yourself, and you will be thanking yourself that you did this program.
Wow, Jill. Thank you. I want to frame your responses. Oh my gosh, they're so beautiful. Thank you so much for the kind words, the words of encouragement for others, your commitment to yourself, your family, your life, your happiness, your freedom. Yes, the program works some miracles, and shout out to Stella for really, really supporting you. If someone doesn't know who Stella is, she's on our team, the director of client relations, and way more than that. She's our rock, and she supports the women in the process with Britt Felix as well. And I think your commitment to this, Jill, and yourself, and you were the one that challenged your fears with those belief systems, and you were the one that did the work when it was hard, and looked into your eyes in the mirror when it was tough, and went back numerous times until it got easier. And that was your work, which I think is really incredible. So thank you for being such an inspiration, and also just spending your time to shine some light on your process and being so vulnerable. Talking with you has been so real, and it encourages me to keep going, on the mission and stuff, just hearing how far you've come and how this is rippling out into your life with others too. So it's just really incredible. So thank you.
Thank you for asking me, and I'm glad I could be here.